Man, I'm thirsty. Hello, beautiful people on the internet. My name is Himang and you are watching a video of mine. It is currently exactly 2:30 a.m. here in Ansan, Korea. And I am still awake filming this video because it is December 28th. We are close to the end of 2020, which means it is time for me to reflect on my 2020 New Year resolutions. I made a video at the beginning of the year setting all my goals for the year, and then I made one in July, August, checking on my progress, and then now I'm here with the final verdict on whether I have attained the goals that I've set for myself, which I already know I have not attained most of them. However, I still think it's a good idea to reflect on the year and look back and see what I've done throughout the year and what I could do different next year. And I actually just watched a Sunday service an hour ago online, and I'm so glad that I did because the sermon today was very relevant to what I'm about to do. So let's get started, shall we? On my planner, and the first goal was to be more straightforward. My objective for this goal was so that I could say things to people's face rather than behind their backs, because that's something that I've noticed I've been doing, especially throughout high school, and that's something that I wanted to fix. I don't know if I am more straightforward. Maybe I am a little bit, but at the same time, I haven't really had too many chances to talk to people this year. But I do think there were some instances where I've been more straightforward. Like, this is something stupid, but I got a new piercing this year. I had a different piercing on my cartilage last year, and it closed up in March. It started swelling up, and I took it out, and it closed up in 2 days. But I've always wanted a piercing like this. I don't know what you call it in English. In Korean, we call it haseon piercing. But when I got it done at the shop, I was not happy with the placement of it. I left the shop, and the more I looked at it, the more I was unhappy with it. At first, I kept trying to convince myself, saying, you know, you'll get used to it, you'll learn to like it. But I don't know, I was just really not feeling it. So my friends convinced me to go back to the shop and ask them to re-pierce it, which I didn't know you could even do. And I was like, wait, will they charge me more? Or I don't know, I feel like I'm being very like rude or something. I feel like I'm always like that. Like I never think that the customer is right. I don't wanna 找麻烦. Like I don't wanna find trouble. But I went back and I found the courage to tell them, is it possible for you to redo this? And so I explained to him where I wanted it exactly. I think I have footage. 3, 2, 1.
Big surprise!
Like, I'm not too happy with the placement, but oh well. I was hoping it would like be more like here. Oh well, 익숙해지겠지.
20 minutes later.
다시 뚫었어. 근데 이번 건 좀 아팠어. I got pierced 3 times today. You know, it's like such a small detail, but like I was so much satisfied with it once he made the adjustment. So I'm really glad that I did that. There's that. I've had a lot of opportunities to collaborate with other people, so I think sharing my honest opinions on things in terms of music have forced me to be more straightforward as well. I do think I'm not talking as much shit about people behind their backs, but at the same time, I don't think I've talked to a lot of people in general. I don't know. But then again, it's not really a measurable goal. I should definitely set more measurable goals for next year. Second one is to learn to let go of ideas. I think I've definitely improved in this area. I've been writing a lot this year, and in every little project I've let go of some ideas that I wouldn't have before if I were younger. And I think it's important to experiment with different sounds and, you know, trying to find what's the best compromise, I guess, with what you envisioned and what would sound good overall and what wouldn't be too overwhelming for the listener. It's a process. We're working on it. 3, support as many people as I can. I have been doing that, still am doing that, and I still hope to be able to continue to do that. I think hard work should be recognized, it should be encouraged. If I see a fellow artist doing something and making progress on something that they're passionate about, I would definitely want to, you know, applaud them for doing so, because it's a process. It takes time, it takes favors, it takes mental efforts. I think it's only right to show support. Yeah. Number 4, choreograph something. And number 5, learn how to freestyle. So I wouldn't say I have like mastered either of these things, but I have attempted. On some days, late at night, I would just put on my AirPods. I have a big mirror in my room, and I would just dance in front of it. It's definitely very fun, and it's very tiring. It's a very good workout. I still don't have a lot of moves, but it's definitely a good stress reliever, and I highly recommend it. Yeah, from those dancing sessions, I have started to choreograph a short piece. I will share it when I think it's ready. If or when I think it's ready. Yeah. But I did dance in a video that Berkeley released this year.
How you like that? You gon' like that? How you like that?
Number 6, learn to guitar. I still have my guitar in the corner of my room that I still haven't touched. But I am going to be taking a gap from school starting this year, like starting now. I will have some more free time to myself, so hopefully that will be something that I will get to. Number 7, learn Hindi. Again, haven't made much progress since the last video either. There were a few days when after dinner my mom and I would ask my dad, okay, let's learn a word in Hindi today, and he would teach us, but I would forget the next day. And it's especially hard because our family just moved to Korea this year, and both my brother and my dad are still trying to learn Korean. So both my mom and I spend more time teaching them things in Korean. And I think the family is definitely generally more focused on getting my brother and my dad's Korean to a certain level so that they can communicate to people here. But I do have a Hindi learning book and a CD that goes with it, so I should get cracking on that. Number 8, get into the studio. Well, obviously, I'm no longer on campus. However, I did do a lot of recording and collaborating virtually in my songwriting classes and other school projects as well. I have a friend that asked me to sing on his vocal writing midterm project. I co-wrote 3 songs over the course of the past fall semester with 3 different classmates of mine in my songwriting class, and I'm so proud of all 3 of them. They all have a different vibe to it, which I think showed a different side of me. It was so fun, and I can't wait to get them recorded and produced fully so that it will be released into the world at some point soon or later, whenever it feels appropriate. Though I haven't been in a professional studio, I still have been working in my home studio setting a lot. Oh, I freaking wrote and released a song with 2 of my friends, and we did it start to finish completely remotely from 5 different countries. The song is called Push and Pull. Many of you have probably heard it by now. I worked on it with my friends Felita Kasia and Sandrina Sitohang. Felita produced it and Sandrina sang on it with me. It's a duet. I'm in Korea, Felita's in Indonesia, Sandrina's in Singapore. Albert, our guitarist, is in the US. Brian, our bassist, is in Malaysia. And JC, our mixing engineer, was also in Singapore. So we managed to complete a song from start to finish completely remotely from 5 different countries, and I'm so proud of the product. The song has gotten so much positive responses, and we're so grateful and so proud of what we were able to make. Which brings me to my next one, number 9, release music. Over the past year, I have released 2 original projects. One was my mixtape Foreshortening that I released at the end of February. It's on SoundCloud. I also released a collaborative single with my friends called Push and Pull, and that was released on November 13th. And trust me, there's so much more in the making. I'm currently working with multiple producers to get more of my original projects done, and I am so excited for next year because next year will definitely be a year full of music. But aside from my original projects, I have also done several cover projects that I am also very proud of. Since the start of the quarantine, I think I did 5 covers, and I had a lot of fun arranging and singing and editing the videos for all of them. Shout out to everyone that helped me with them. I'm so blessed to have so many talented and supportive friends. I said I wanted to learn more about American history and Black history. I definitely learned more about it through one of my classes this semester. If you're at Berkeley, I highly recommend it. I think the professor is very knowledgeable and she is definitely very passionate about what she teaches. However, I do think you will struggle with it if you are not into like lecture type classes. Really surprised at how relatively engaged and attentive I stayed in this class, but I think I've gotten a lot out of it, and I've learned a lot about America since World War One into the Depression, World War Two, the baby boom from FDR to LBJ to JFK. JFK came before LBJ. The anti-war movements, the civil rights movements, etc., etc. There's definitely more that I can be educating myself on. I will admit that I haven't been super proactive about finding resources myself to educate myself more on Black history and how people of color have been treated throughout history. I have been actively reading whatever pops up on my feed or on my TikTok, and I definitely will continue to listen to my other friends of color that live in the States. And the other goal that I have added to the list in my last video was that I wanted to learn more about Korean history and Korean politics, and I don't think I've worked on that at all. There were a few things that my mom would mention once in a while, but I definitely have not been proactive about it, and I definitely should take more action on that because I'm going to be hanging out in Korea for a while now, and I am a legal, full-grown Korean citizen that will be serving in the Korean army one day, so I definitely feel obliged. Is obliged the word? Obligated to have some more knowledge on the history of Korea. All my fellow Korean friends that grew up here took Kuksa, and I never had that experience because I grew up in China in an international school. There were things that I have learned in like Hangulakyo, which is like a Saturday Korean school that your parents send you to get your Korean to a certain level. But that was like when I was little, and I don't remember too much from that. Also, when I was in 9th and 10th grade, I did IGCSE Korean, and that was very difficult because that was the first time that I took Korean as a native language class, high school level class. But we read a lot of literature from the Ilje-shide, which is when Korea was colonized by Japan. So I have a very surface level, rough idea of Korean history. There's definitely so much more that I could benefit from by diving into more deeply English. And I also said that I should also get into Indian history and Chinese history because I'm half Indian and I was born and raised in China. But they're also like two of the most ancient civilizations in the world. So that's definitely going to take so much more time just because their histories are so much longer than American history and Korean history. But since I am in Korea right now, I think that's going to be my priority. Man, I'm thirsty. Oh, alright, so looking back, be more straightforward. We said we made some progress on that. 2, learn to let go of ideas. We did practice that a little bit as well. Support as many people as I can, definitely. Number 4, choreograph something. Yes, I've started choreographing something. Number 5, learn how to freestyle. We've made an attempt. Learn how to play guitar. No. 7, Hindi. No. 8, studio. Yes. 9, release music. Yes. 10, educate on American and Black history. Yes and no. 11, educate on Korean history. Not really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of 11 goals that I have at least made some progress on. Since I will not be in school for a while, I definitely think I will have more time in the new year to make more content. Please let me know if there's something that you would like to see. And I actually filmed a lookbook video. Some of you on Instagram said you wanted to see that, and I filmed it, but it took too long for me to edit, so I gave up because it was supposed to be like a summer to fall transition type of video. By the time I started editing, it was too late. I definitely will be making some videos in Korean as well. I said this in last year's video, but the purpose of me making these videos is definitely not to show off my achievements. I tend to perform better when I am doing it in front of other people. So putting this out there will motivate me to do better. New music's on the way. Black Lives Matter. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram at HimongSounds. And I hope you have a wonderful new year. Y'all are beautiful and God bless you. My hair has been through quite a transformation this year. I started the year with bangs, and once that started to get too long, I started wearing a bandana to push it up. Before the quarantine, I shaved the sides and just left the top growing, and I haven't cut this part of my hair since March, and it is still growing strong. I wouldn't say strong, still growing long. I bleached it and then dyed it ash gray, and then once that faded away, I dyed it green. It was supposed to be like a olivey khaki green, but it turned out super blue and teal, but eventually faded to the green that I wanted. The third color that I tried, blue here in the center and then purple on the sides, and it looked really good when I first did it, but it did not last long at all, and this is what it faded to. I can't even tell what color this is. The part that was blue looks a little more like a greenish gray, whereas the part that was purple looks a little more brown. I don't know if you could tell in this lighting. I still have a lot more colors that I want to try. We've been through a lot this year.